Welcome to Crescent City with your hosts Natalie Jean and Jackie Zabrowski. Puppy feet, puppy feet. I love little puppy feet. I'll talk about puppy feet all day.
Don't mind me, just chomping away. Sorry, guys. I need sustenance because it's hard to keep these muscles. You know, I have to really pump on a lot of protein to keep this shape.
Oh yeah, and man, everybody knows that Fritos full of protein.
Let's see.
Do you want to look at the nutritional facts of the Fritos?
The entire bag, 3 entire grams of it.
Wow! It's like you're a muscle man over here.
Yeah.
3 grams gets you everywhere, guys. Unfortunately, if there's one thing I've learned from TikTok, it's that none of us eat enough protein. Oh, we need more protein, guys. That's why I drink coffee all day, right?
Yeah.
I know you could put the protein, you could put the Fairlife in the coffee, and then you have protein coffee.
It's
But
true.
what do you do when you're at work and you ain't got no protein milk?
Tell them to put some protein milk in the fridge.
Garcon?
Garcon, hey.
Fairlife, now! You know that's how it works here in this network. The garçon comes over and takes your...
The Marcidi.
Yes, I say, give me the money. And we all have to speak in fake French accents, and nobody's good at it, but everybody thinks they are good at it.
Deeply offensive.
You are touching yourself in front of me, and I'm upset. Natalie keeps groping herself, and I'm worried while sitting next to you that those hands are gonna wander.
You know, it's my fake chest is above my real chest by like a good 6 inches.
So you are grabbing your breasts.
I do feel like a little bit of a cow at the moment with several nipples.
Well, if you were a cow, hell, I'd milk you. I wouldn't. I would say, hello, cow.
I assume you mean because I'm Hunt's and you like Hunt.
That's what it was. Not just me thinking about what if you were actually hiding udders under there, and this entire time after all these years I had no idea. But that would be very impressive considering the amount of bathing suits I've seen you in.
Also, I'd be making a bunch of money on OnlyFans right now if I had udders.
Dude, get that nat milk. It's warm.
Ew. Gross.
Man,
all right, now this is...
you gotta suck from the teeth and you get it all warm. Apparently, it's the best cream to exist.
This is not going the way I would like it
No,
to.
and I am dressed like a queen, and I better act like it.
I like your sparkly lips.
Thank you. I'm feeling very Queen Thea right now.
You are.
And there's not a lot of fan art out there about Queen Thea, so I kind of just shot from a Thea hip over here.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of nice. You can just create your own version.
Yeah, and I was feeling it with the silver lips, because usually I'm gonna be real with you right now. I don't usually do a light lip because I don't like how it looks on my face. I like a dark lip.
I mean, you rock a dark lip.
I appreciate that.
You can. I think you look nice in light colors too.
Do you think so? Because I feel like I just sucked a clown's dick.
What? How? In what way?
Man.
In what way? You sucking a clown's penis would make your lips light pink.
I think I was thinking, well, this is more of like a silvery white, and I think I'm thinking of Art the Clown specifically.
Oh, wow, you're sexualizing Art the Clown.
You know, we did have the conversation while watching it last night, the would you, won't you, with Art the Clown, and I did say won't. I did say, I was like, let's like if we're on a date, like he's obviously very good with his fingers, so like maybe that could be something that could intrigue me, but you know,
like all of the like mutilations.
And it's like honestly, pointed teeth. I know I'm a monster fucker and I shouldn't shame someone for having pointed teeth, but I think I'd be really scared.
But isn't like the allure of the pointed teeth is that they could but they don't,
and they don't do it. You say that, but then you think about the actuality of someone with that, like a mouth of razor sharp teeth going down on you, and that genuinely scares me.
Well, not only that, but also Art the Clown would hurt you with them.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully, honestly, he'd do something real fun while he's down there, really.
Ugh.
Well, you don't want him just eating you out. If you're in a Terrifier movie, you'd want, it's like, no, terrify me. Like, do the whole thing.
I don't know. I don't really want to know what rabbit hole your mind is delving into right now.
No, it's deep. But it is full of veggies. I'm filling up all the rabbits. I'd feed the rabbits if I lived in a rabbit hole. Anyway, sorry, we can start. the episode.
Oh, maybe we should talk about the book.
You wanna get it? Oh, you want to? And Natalie, you look very sexy
I don't, but
as
thank
Hunt,
you.
and I don't think you look like baby poop is smeared on your face, even though that's what you said earlier.
It does look like, maybe not baby poop, but it does look like baby food is smeared all over my
maybe,
face.
yeah, maybe like a pureed carrots or something like that.
I need a darker stubble. This is a little too light for the dark amount of hair.
I'm gonna
that
have
Hunt
to.
has.
I'll share you my stubble palette. Now I just straight up have a stubble. Palette.
Yeah, I don't have one, which I obviously need if I'm going to continue this.
Because it's kind of ruined the shades because I use a like a scrubby like washcloth to make it more like patchy.
Yeah.
So it kind of fucked up the whole palette. So now it's just a beard palette. So you
Right.
can use it whenever you want.
Okay.
Is this
you.
boring? Should I not be saying this? Sometimes as I'm speaking, I'm like, Jackie, nobody cares about what you're saying. But that's okay.
Podcasters can't worry about such things. Otherwise,
No.
we would never have
Never
podcasts.
speak. No, we'd never speak.
But
But I will say, and I know that this is not going to be anytime soon. I look great as a blonde, and someday I'm going to be a platinum blonde, and I'm very excited for that.
you
day.
have a really great honey complexion, like for this
Thank you.
color blonde hair.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It looks
Thank you.
actually like it fits you really well.
I really appreciate you saying that, and I think I would wear a lighter, like clown sucked dick lip if I had lighter hair, maybe.
Okay, I can see that.
You know, because I feel like I'm really feeling this right now, guys.
It's giving like a very 60s vibe that I'm enjoying.
Thank you. I'm like a twiggy.
You are.
Oh, I'm like a twiggy. Everybody says that. Jackie, Twiggy, Jackie. We're talking about Jackie.
Now they will.
Now they will. Get ready, bitches.
Okay, so if you recall,
Tell me about it. Whoa. Oh, man. She's grabbing herself again.
Moving into Bryce's apartment.
Because if you work that hard for those washboard abs, I would never button my shirt again. Right?
This is my hunt for this episode because of what we're about to go into in the episode.
Hell yeah.
Excuse me.
I like the bright white hat.
It's a sunball hat. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
That's part of the outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Because she's... What? We didn't get there yet. Oh.
We didn't get there yet, Natalie.
I am wearing this before it's revealed in the book.
And we are ready for that reveal.
So the Hunt is passed out for the first night in the apartment, and the next morning he's awoken by C-Ring swatting at his face.
Oh my God. So
and it is
cute.
cute o'clock
Yes,
over
it
here
is.
as C-Ring wins Hunt over with his charms.
Stop.
Which all he really wants is food, but you take a dog's love, or not a dog, a chimera.
Yeah.
A chimera, which
Chimera?
is
Chimera?
Chimera.
Chimera.
Yes. Mm.
And it just makes me think of little Carmi.
Oh,
When Carmi
well,
wakes you up
Carmi looks like her.
with her little snorts, and she'll get on your chest and you know she's hungry.
In my world canon, where they're in Philadelphia, Lunathian, Syrinx looks like Carmelita.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, you can't take it away from my brain, so I just think of Syrinx snorting the way Carmi does, and it makes me want to cry puppy tears. I want a dog so badly.
You just gotta
I'm gonna
do
get a
it.
dog. I'll get a dog at some point.
Realizing that Hunt hasn't heard Bryce moving around yet, he quickly makes his way to her room, hoping she hasn't bailed already. But she's sound asleep still, which is good. She had a hard night.
Yeah, and also, hopefully, maybe, even though she doesn't want him there, I imagine having someone there probably helped her sleep a little bit better.
Especially because they've come to a sort of, a peace.
Yeah.
So he sees her. He just kind of peers in her room, and she's still sound asleep. In a nightie.
Just letting you know, don't ever do that to me while I'm sleeping, unless you want to see a lot more of Jackie than you planned.
No, I would never.
Just knock.
It seems like maybe she wasn't protesting that much. Maybe she didn't really.
Interesting that she put the nightie on and not much else.
And also, technically, Syrinx is the one who cracked the door to leave. But anyway.
But also, you're right, though, because some people have to leave the door open for animals or for kids, and I also get that, too.
But regardless, she's there fast asleep, and he notices the tattoo across her back because she's lying on her belly. This is the first time he's really taken a gander at the matching tattoo that she has with Danica. And then he takes an assessment of all of the bruises that are covering her body, already healing from last night thanks to her fey blood.
And he was staring at her like a fucking creep.
So, at least he's self-aware.
He's aware. And he's been aware, I think, that like when he was between her knees last week as well, of like, oh.
And yet he keeps staring.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He needs to assess.
He's got to assess
and research the situation.
Yeah, he's got to research.
He's got to make sure there's nobody bad in the room or in the bed with her.
Right. And he gets busted because Juniper, who clearly has a key to the apartment, sweeps in before he can even pull a knife on somebody walking into the apartment. She's staring at him in complete shock.
Uh-oh.
Because, first off, she didn't know Hunt was living there now. And secondly, because he's shirtless.
Whoa, just like you, Natalie. No wonder I can't pay attention. I keep staring at your washboard abs.
What? Hey, what's up? Oh, I guess I forgot my shirt.
Oops, maybe it burst off my big chest.
Sorry about that. I guess I just can't put one on, though.
Whoa, my arms are so big, I can't raise them above my head.
I guess I just gotta, walk around in the kitchen like this or
Yeah,
something.
I guess you need, a massage or something. Do you need... That's just me. But it's just not Juniper or Bryce, just Jackie. I'm just at the door going oh, wow. Oh, look at that guy.
He turned into a cartoon character.
Oh, yeah. If I was in front of the Umbra Mortis, can you imagine? Yeah, I'm not going to be keeping my cool.
He realizes she's staring at him because, again, he's shirtless, and he looks like he's leaving Bryce's room in that moment.
Oh.
He gets a case of the, Juniper's obviously amused by this and just asks him for privacy to speak with Bryce, who is just stirring from her deep sleep. He's glad to escape the awkward moment and heads towards the kitchen to find coffee. Still not with a shirt on.
No.
Interesting. But he can hear their entire conversation. And, what is he supposed to do if they're not whispering? Not hear them?
And you also, I feel like in this world, wouldn't you assume that someone's always kind of listening because of, the fey ears and, the scents and stuff like that? I feel like I always assume my phone is listening, and I feel like that is a good terror that is constant that everyone should live by.
Sure. I also think that maybe they're not trying that hard to keep secret.
No.
But do you think when they whisper, they have to be like...
Yeah, I feel like I'd have to write it down.
It's because everybody can hear so well?
Yeah. That, and also, give me that, Fey breeze or whatever
Febreze?
I'm gonna need. Fey breeze. That, put that through the air whenever you do anything.
I hope it doesn't smell like Febreze, because that just makes me think of a smelly college dorm.
Oh, yeah,
room.
That's Febreze.
Yeah.
No, that's Febreze. And this is Fey breeze. So
Right.
that is just for, just your everyday sense.
Got it.
Fuck breeze.
So he can, he can't help but hear them. They're talking loudly. And he hears Juniper call him a, quote, gorgeous angel. And he can't help but grin to himself.
I bet he can't.
He's not used to hearing that because it's way more common for people to think of him simply as a killing machine.
Yeah, they're terrified of him.
Yeah, even though he's hot. Can you believe they won't look at him even because he's murdering people?
Why?
And they can't
Because
even
he's in the middle of cutting somebody's head off or something. It's look to the angel within.
Yeah, right? And within his clothes.
Noise, yeah, within my body. Yo.
Bryce makes it clear she has no choice in the matter that he is in the apartment because, Juniper's asking her what he's doing in there and stuff. And she says neither of us really have a choice, but he's here on work. It's not like that.
It's not like that. Interesting.
Yeah, well, Juniper fairly points out it's not super business casual to walk around shirtless.
Yeah, but his muscles are so big, June.
It's just hard to keep them contained.
Yeah, you gotta let him breathe.
June also mentioned that Fury is likely to come to town to deal with the fallout from the nightclub. And, this strikes a chord in Bryce. She bitterly mentions... Well, I guess there'd be no other reason for Fury to show up in town.
Yeah.
Juniper clarifies in this moment that Fury's dealing with the pain by avoidance, which is to say that June doesn't think Fury somehow blames Bryce for this, just that Fury doesn't know where to put her grief.
Which happens to a lot of people, of like when you experience something you've never experienced before, that you don't know how you would react to it, and some people go the avoidance route.
Yeah, I mean, Fury seems like maybe she doesn't really know how to get into her own
Her
feelings.
emotions. Yeah, no, I mean, but again, she's like a famed
Deadly
killer.
assassin, yeah. The two ladies kind of come to the end of their conversation and they walk out greeting Hunt, who Bryce acknowledges obviously heard everything they were saying. Hunt can't help but wince at the vicious scar on her thigh as she walks because she's still only wearing a nightie, and he blames himself for it. Again, that would make me I would also feel really hard. It would be hard to look at somebody's like injury and be like, I did that.
I did this.
Yeah. Juniper then leaves, which leaves Bryce and Hunt in this new sort of setup, sort of analyzing each other.
Uh-oh, it's definitely like a Charles in Charge situation.
No, that has bad lore around it.
Yeah, I guess it is.
No,
that's a bad one. I was going to say Three's Company, but it's not Three's Company because June just left. So I was like, what is that relationship of like an overseer, almost like a Mr. Belvedere.
Ew.
Yeah.
Mr. Belvedere is where you went with this?
Yes. That's where I went with it.
Which one? So he's
takes
Mr.
care-
Belvedere?
Yeah, I guess he's Mr. Belvedere. Yeah, sometimes you got to look at Hunt and be like, are you the Mr. Belvedere? Oh, God. What have I thought about a sweater vest? I didn't know this is what I needed.
I was going to say it was probably something more like something that happened on Friends. But I guess Mr. Belvedere. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Think about that show. Was he paid?
I don't know. That show's
I don't know if I've ever watched an episode of Mr. Belvedere.
That show is so old. I have only the vaguest, like, child baby memories of it. The only thing I really remember about it is that there's an episode where the son gets touched at camp.
What?
And they have a whole PSA at the end.
That's not where I expected you to go at all.
It's intense. And
I'm sorry I just made you remember that.
It's technically really good they did it because they did a whole thing talking about you need to report it when it happens. But it's not on canon for like a sitcom of that caliber. Is like, that's weird out of left field kind of situation.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're just looking at Mr. Belvedere?
It's based on a novel.
We have to focus.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm focusing. I was curious. I thought it was, you never know if you look up like Mr. Belvedere and it's like, never speak of this show. Everything bad happened on this show. So I think I was looking more for that.
We're all very traumatized.
Yeah, no, I'm scared of my trauma. I'm scared of everybody else's trauma. It's just, always live in fear is what I'm saying.
So we are in this new setup, which both of them involves both of them half dressed. They're in the kitchen, just hanging out, partially nude.
Oh, yeah.
But they have shared some other bonding moments before this, so neither of them seem particularly mad or uncomfortable in this moment. Bryce, in her own ball-busting way, attempts friendly japing as she sits across from him.
Being Bryce.
Yeah. She sits across from him eating the croissants that Juniper had brought her as an apology for, punching her in the face.
Like friends do. It's like, oh, sorry. I mean, I would have brought a bagel. I feel like it's more substantial than a croissant, but Juniper, we appreciate you.
It's so hard to envision either one of us punching the other one in the face.
God, what would it take? I feel like you'd have to do something really bad to Henry, and I probably would punch you in the face.
No,
I don't know if I could reach all the way up there, though. I'd have to get up on a chair. So if you ever see me getting up on a chair in front of you, know that I know something you did, and I'm about to punch you.
No, what I do?
Yeah, I don't know, but you will definitely know.
Oh God,
I know, and I'm sorry that you feel sad, but you should feel sad for whatever you did to him that made me do this. I'm not gonna punch you, Natalie.
I didn't do anything.
It would be funny, though, if I just start getting out the chair. It's like, oh, I know what's next.
No, I didn't do anything.
But thank you, Natalie, for not punching me in the face in all the years that we've known each other.
You're welcome. So,
family.
She basically she says to him, look, now that we're living together, don't try any of that alpha hole stuff. on me where you're strutting around topless, trying to seduce me and like fall in love with me and like
Oh.
want to take care of me and
Yeah,
stuff.
don't
Ew.
do that.
Yuck. I hate
Yeah.
that. He's perplexed, but he definitely plays into this nagging going on by snatching the croissant out of her hand and informs her that the last thing he wants to do is fuck her.
Interesting.
So the absolute last
Yeah, I
thing.
never would. Yuck. Puke.
So she doesn't need to worry about it. Plus, she's the one walking around in her underwear all day. Ew, he hates it
too. He'd worked hard to forget that particular detail. How after her morning run, she did her hair and makeup in a routine that took her more than an hour from start to finish, wearing only what seemed to be an extensive and rather spectacular assortment of lingerie. Hunt supposed if he looked the way she did, he'd wear that shit too. Cute, it's cute, but also, I hope for her sake, and maybe I shouldn't say this because maybe some people do like to lounge in lingerie. It's just not my thing. But I am hoping that she was doing that for him and it's not just how she lives her life. Just because I imagine it's got to be really uncomfortable to just lay around in lingerie. And hopefully she was just doing it because she knows that he was looking.
I think mostly it's because, well, I guess you don't need to wear lingerie under tiny dresses. You can technically just wear like normal underwear underneath there.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe you could think, oh, well, it makes her feel like more confident as she gets dressed or something.
For sure. And I'd say good for you. And, let us know. Do you wear lingerie all the time and think it happens to be comfortable and maybe everybody should be wearing lingerie and maybe I'm just wearing the wrong lingerie?
Yeah. And don't send us pictures though, please.
No, yeah, I'm not asking for pictures.
I feel like this could go
asking,
wrong.
It's more like a links. It's more like a website links thing.
Yeah. So she's kind of like teasing him and obviously flirting with him in a way, saying like, don't follow me around and fall in love with me.
Oh.
And he tells her he has to follow her around. It's his job, not
Literally
because he's
his
trying
job.
to woo her.
Yeah, get used to it, Bryce.
And he says, get him a set of keys. She better do it. And she's like, no, whatever. And then he goes, well, if there's an alpha hole in the house, it's her. Because she's always acting all like this.
Yeah, she is.
And I mean, fair. He clapped back at her.
Yeah, man, I love this little repartee.
He informs her that they are now officially joined at the hip.
Oh,
so
no, don't.
She better get used to it. Suck it up, Buttercup. Actually, he calls her sweetheart, and she tells him to never call her that again, which of course means he's going to constantly call her that.
Of course he is, because they're going to have that kind of simple relationship. And while
it never turns to kissing.
No, it never, ever. It never gets lustful, ever. But it might.
Maybe it won't, though. Who knows?
Oops.
The info in the next chapter, chapter 29, it is a lot of information. I don't think we're going to cover every bit of the backstory that we're about to hear because for me personally, I don't know how you guys all take in information, but sometimes I need to learn some of this. If I'm getting an entire backstory in one chunk, I'm not going to remember most of it.
No. I'm certainly going to remember it as needed as time goes on. So I appreciate you, Natalie, for picking and choosing what we do need for this portion of the story.
I'm trying to try to
and our researcher Jess, who's amazing. Thank you so much, Jess.
Yes, and thank you, Jess, very much. So what am I talking about? Well, we're back in the sub-level library at Griffin Antiquities. Well, we're about to be. They're on the way there at the beginning of this chapter. Hunt and Bryce and Syrinx were all on their little walk to work. And on the way, Hunt is noting Bryce's outfit du jour, which is a little black dress and towering black heels.
Damn.
He realizes that this may be a form of armor for her as much as his battle gear is. Just a different kind of war.
Oh my God, and he recognizes that.
He also makes note of the Archesian amulet she always wears and marvels at how much it must have cost, which is little hints. We don't know exactly what it is, but so many people mention it. We are obviously supposed to note it, that it has some kind of importance.
Significance.
They also discuss Rune on this walk, Bryce revealing about her fight with Rune when she was still a teenager. They had begun to argue about how Rune's father...
Only Rune's father...
So they're having these like sort of origin story conversations now. They're getting to learn about each other. And so this is her describing this argument that she had with Rune and how it eventually just evolved into name calling. She mentions that she hates her father, but doesn't reveal any other information about him. Hunt assumes he's some distant lord or some other land somewhere. She tells him that her hate ranking is
a hate ranking. Like, yeah, I've got this hate ranking. Let me go through.
Oh, you don't have a list?
Not anymore. I think I did many years ago when I was a big bully, but no, I don't have a hate list anymore. And isn't that nice?
No, I don't either. She tells him she has a hate list, and her ranking is number 2, Dad, number 1, Sabine.
But also, if someone was in my life like a Sabine or an Autumn King, I'd probably have a hate list.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyone that used to be on my hate list is not in my life anymore, so that's pretty good for me.
Healthy boundaries. She wants to know who's on Hunt's shit list. Sandriel is all he says. She seems to remember his past then and sympathizes. He tells her Sandriel is so much worse than the figurehead she's seen before on TV, that she's, quote, a sadistic monster, which we know to be true given what we've already learned of Hunt's past.
But also for Hunt to say that, for the Umbra Mortis to say that, I think it gives quite a punch.
Yeah. He tells her he can't talk about this just walking around, like discussing the archangels in public is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, dude. I'm scared of my phone. Imagine what could happen to you, like, and what they can hear and what they can sense. Good Lord. But she eyed him.
You ever want to talk about it, Athalar? I'm here.
She said it casually, but he could read the sincerity in her face. He nodded.
Likewise. Oh, trauma bond.
It's a cute trauma bond.
I love it. On their walk, they pass the Heart Gate, and Bryce lifts his mood by telling him when she was 13, she made a wish for bigger boobs.
Hunt elbowed her ribs, unable to stop himself from making physical contact.
Whoa.
Yeah.
When she asks him what he'd wish for, he mentally lists a lot of heavy, dark things involving Sandriel, his mother, things he's not ready to talk about. Interesting, though, in this little thought, this progression of thoughts that he's having, he's talking about how he's not ready yet to talk about them with her.
But he could see a future where he could.
Right, which is a big deal. So instead, he says, well, he's happy with the size of his assets. And it makes her smile, which seems to affect times.
It also does make me think of the Muppet Christmas Carol when they go, our assets are frozen.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the little rat Muppets right now, Natalie. Well, I'm thinking about that big old rat Muppet that lives inside of his pants.
Ew.
As I was saying it, I was disgusted with myself.
Yuck.
I'm sorry.
Everything's terrible about what you said. Then we're in Griffin's library with Hunt, Rune, Bryce, Leheba, and Syrinx. They're all on their own research missions, and we're with Rune's thoughts, which at this moment are sort of awe.
Well, can you imagine being inside of that library, like only hearing tale of the library and then actually being able to see it?
Well, and what we're gaining through his vantage is that the library is sort of stunning even to a rich fairy male who's seen a lot of stunning things in his 75 years.
Hell yeah.
Hunt is looking up info trying to find something about the Crystallos. Hunt thinks he's a Type 6 demon, which is the worst kind aside from Type 7, a rank reserved only for the princes of hell.
Yikes.
Apparently, Hunt's killed about a dozen Type 6 demons, which is what, all right, show off.
Yeah,
much?
just like letting you guys know that like I've definitely killed all those 6 demons before.
You're
I
not
feel-
Hunt today.
I'm sorry, you're not. You are Hunt. You are Hunt, and I need to remember. I need to look at your abs every time. I feel like I need to make a wish on your abs.
Respect
God.
my authority.
This is such an interesting.
See, right now you are touching my breast.
I'm sorry. I'm touching your breast. I'm sorry.
I told you.
Sorry.
If you touch this breast, you're not touching my breast.
Whoa, oh, okay, gotcha. Now I know. Now I know where I can grab and what I can't. I just was very surprised by the feel of your chest.
What did you
It's
think it was going to be? Like
I guess I
plastic
thought it was
hard?
harder,
No.
and it had a lot more give than I expected, which scared me.
Yeah, no, it's very weird and uncomfortable.
It is weird. I'm gonna go ahead and confess what went through my mind was that, like, was it your actual chest? When I touched it, I was like, oh God! Again, I'm terrified of you and your nipples and your chest.
If only I had these abs.
I'm glad you don't. You'd be so annoying if you had those abs.
I would never wear a shirt, ever.
You definitely shouldn't wear a shirt if you have those abs, but I feel like all you're going to talk about is your protein intake, you're going to talk about your creatine, you're going to talk about a lot of other fucking bullshit. I don't care.
Fun fact, six-pack, like washboard abs, the external abdominal muscles are mostly genetic, and they don't mean you're actually even very strong.
That's why Henry and I don't have them.
It's true, though.
Thank you.
It's true. Some people just can't get six-packs, like, because they're not, the way the muscles are laid under your skin, it just doesn't work to make a six-pack. Like,
I just love this, and I feel like all of us should use this tip now just to be like, it's genetic. I don't have six, but it's genetic. It's not my fault.
I'm just saying out there.
Thank you.
Don't feel bad about yourself if you can't do it. Bryce thinks that maybe they can't find info on the crystallos anywhere because it's such an ancient being. She suggests they start looking through catalogs of ancient art to see if it's represented somewhere, since they can't find anything in writing. As they search, Rune and Hunt bicker, and finally Bryce asks what their problem is. Hunt says that they, quote, beat the shit out of each other at a party once, and they're both still mad about it.
Bryce threw Lehaba a knowing look.
Boys and their pissing contests.
Lehaba made a prim little sound.
Not nearly as advanced as us ladies.
She's so fucking cute.
I know, it's so cute. This gets a brief moment of camaraderie between Hunt and Rune, who both roll their eyes at the ladies, which is very cute. Rune goes to look through the books to see if his Starborn juice will help him search out for the correct tome.
Right? It's got to, like, send him in the right direction, like a sniffing dog.
Well, he gets, like, a shimmer on things, like, when he's being drawn towards them. And he does find a book that calls to him. But, confusingly, it's called Great Romances of the Fae. Okay. The others, of course, are endlessly amused by this. As he settles into the massive table they're all sharing to look through this book, he gets an email from Declan stating that he's collected the data Bryce has requested because, as you'll recall, their deal is Rune gets into the library in exchange for use of Rune's hacker, who is Declan. Rune forwards the emails from Declan to the other two, and they all look over what Declan has collected.
It was full of coordinates and their correlating locations. Danica's daily routine as alpha of the pack of devils had her moving throughout the old square and beyond, not to mention her healthy social life after sundown.
Everything Danica and the wolves did for the 2 weeks prior to that fateful night. They're all surprised by Danica's whereabouts leading up to the murders. She wasn't only on duty in the area around Luna's statue in the days leading up to the blackout, where 2 people were killed. She was stationed at Luna's temple for 2 nights leading up and the night of the blackout.
Where the horn was stolen from?
Yes, she was there at that time, or was supposed to be. She hadn't told Bryce this. If you'll recall, they have this conversation at the very beginning of the book.
Oh yeah, dude.
And she just said she was in trouble because on her duty watch, like her on the clock for her, she didn't say she was at the
actual place.
So apparently she doesn't.
Why?
It seems like she doesn't tell Bryce everything.
Whoa. And is this the beginning of many books of figuring out that maybe Danica didn't say everything?
Couldn't be.
I just feel like it's one of those things that I'm like, man, I knew everything about my best bitch, but it's like, but did you?
Nah.
And then you think back and it's like, well, how much did I not share? Like, I think about this. I brought up some person that, like, I had I'll say a sexual experience with early in my 20s. And I was talking with someone that knew me at the time, and she was like, I don't remember that happening. And I was like, dude, it's crazy the like second life I lived when I would leave everybody at the bar. And I had so many years of the second life that I would lead.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have that. And they do a lot of things that they're ashamed of that they don't want to talk about.
We just watched Lake Mungo for
it's
31
good.
for 31, which that makes me think of that because there's a lot of private lives happening in that
Yes,
movie.
private lives.
They don't know what to make of this information about Danica, so they just keep moving forward. We cut over to Bryce's POV, and she's having memories of Connor in those last days. Heartache at those final weeks and the private moments they shared. How she knew he was done waiting and over the games they played. Bryce had been ready too.
Oh, my heart hurts for them.
I know. She's shaken from her memories when Rune seems to have stumbled on something in his lover's book that he is poring over. Here is a lot of the backstory. Without saying too much, a lot of this comes into play later, but it's a big old history hoedown, right? It involves the first Starborn prince who we've mentioned, Peleus.
Yes.
Because he's the one who had the sword and the Starborn power first. And is now mentioning his bride, Lady Helena. So he found something in this book about their love story, which Peleus is important. They already know that based on Rune's connection to him, but they don't know that there's a direct connection to the horn exactly. So through all of this information, the biggest point that's applicable is the story of their love and also the story of how the horn was forged. So Luna's horn was created and was only usable by the Starborn Prince Peleus. So that's to say, even if the Prince of Hell got a hold of the horn and somehow got it to work, he would still need the Starborn Prince, which is currently
to be able to use it.
Yes. And that is currently Rune.
Yes.
To operate it.
So even if someone has it, they would need Rune to use it.
Yes. But beyond that, the story tells of the Prince of the Pit needing to steal Peleus's blood to create the Crystallos, which is how he got it to be able to scent for the horn. Which again, that demon is forged solely to find the horn, which we already learned. Regardless, in this text and many others, the ancient Fae have already claimed that the horn is forever broken. It doesn't matter. In fact, the Fae claimed it could only be, quote, repaired by light that is not light, magic that is not magic. More riddles.
All right, with your riddles.
Fae love riddles.
It's like, just give me a Where's Waldo and be like, oh, there it is. Done. Thank you. These riddles.
How are you going to have an epic journey? How are you going to have your
I know.
What's it called? Not your summoning. What's it called? The happening. No, whenever they have their...
Yeah, the beginning of a journey. I can't think of what it is.
No, when they have their... when he got the sword, it was runes.
Oh, the beep, beep, bop. Gone. I'm a robot. Natalie doesn't exist, and we must continue.
Okay. We'll come back. We'll remember it. We'll remember. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
I'm sure all of you are screaming it right now.
I know, it's called the Star Sword. You fucks.
But anyway, the light is not light, magic is not magic thing.
The ordeal.
The ordeal, thank you.
The ordeal! It's the ordeal!
It's not the situation. That's laundry tan.
Gym tan laundry.
Gym
but
tan
I do
laundry.
also have a sign from the Situation store with a big Bengal tiger on the background that says, "We didn't come this far just to come this far." And I say it to myself in the Italian-American accent of the Situation.
Does the Situation own that site, or did it get stolen from him by like MTV or whatever? Does he have to make money?
I think it's all his money.
I hope so.
It's insane. He has so much merch. If you look up the Situation store, he has so much merch. And honestly, Some of it's a lot of fun.
I mean, good for him. So many of those reality show people from MTV got completely screwed over by the network.
The rest of the Jersey Shore, don't look at their merch. They ain't got much.
Good for him.
Go on. Especially Sammy's sweetheart. Ugh.
All right.
Sorry, I won't start talking about how I feel about the Jersey Shore, but I'll talk about it anytime
Are
you
you
want
going to
me
dress
to.
like Sammy for this series? Because you did when we were doing Akatar.
I did, yeah. I did do like a... Well, I think I was more a Snooki. Please, Natalie. I would never be a Sammy sweetheart.
I thought you were.
Probably, because she's the bitch.
I feel like you were being her with a Faye spin on it. I don't
I'm
remember.
sure I was.
Somebody
Lord knows
remembers.
what happened in Akatar. It feels like it was years ago.
Twasn't.
It wasn't.
So, light that's not light, magic that's not magic. It's the only way that... So, basically to say it's impossible. But my first thought with that is, well, that's a good way to convince people not to try to use the horn.
Oh, shit.
That's just my thought.
You crazy bitch.
Hunt wants to know what Rune's dad wants the horn for so badly then. Rune thinks it's because his dad just wants to show... He wants a show of faith strength in a time when the Autumn King believes Fae powers are declining.
Yeah, he wants someone to come in and be like, Fae are powerful. Fae are gonna kill them all.
Apparently, according to the Autumn King, even though he himself can burn down an entire grove of trees with his magic, his ancestors could burn down entire forests. What a fantastic trait to have.
I'm so glad you used that as an example, Autumn King. So happy and thank you for just thinking about how many trees you can burn down.
Yeah, Jesus. Rune's little kernel of star power is an embarrassment to the Autumn King. And wow, sound like a narcissist much?
But also, like, get your own Autumn King.
He doesn't have any kernels.
Yeah, you got nothing.
They are still kind of, they take all this information in and they're like still kind of just pondering what they should do next. And they consider all of their options, which include basically psychics, oracles and mystics in this world.
Yeah, man.
Both Rune and Bryce express their distaste for returning to the Oracle after having a bad time at their own premonitional events at their 13th birthdays. Hunt's never been to one, so he agrees to go visit. He's one of the people in the camp who thinks it's kind of corny and doesn't really think much about it.
I mean, but if I hadn't visited an oracle or a mystic, I would definitely jump at the chance to go to one.
For sure. Bryce seems very traumatized by it. And it's like, you go on, man, I'm not going. All of them ponder what they found, and Hunt in that moment gets a call that takes him upstairs, leaving Rune and Bryce semi-alone. They share a sort of tender moment. Well, at least they're not fighting in the moment.
Yes.
And Bryce asks Rune what happened at his oracle telling. Apparently, they've never discussed it. Rune, however, does not want to talk about it, and he quickly changes the subject.
These males and running away from talking about things that they gotta talk about. It's gonna come out at some point, Rune.
He's got to go. He's got stuff to do.
Oh, yeah, he's got stuff to do. Oh, yeah, he's gonna go.
So Rune leaves the library. Bryce gets about 30 seconds of Leheba coveting both Rune and Hunt when Hunt sends her a series of texts telling her they need to go to the comitium now that Rune has left because they move as one. One being, one creature, one life.
Whoa.
And Hunt needs to get his meager belongings from his sad dorm room. I think it's mostly weapons.
Oh, but he feels whole when he has his weapons, and he needs them.
Oh, it's like his little external penises.
I get it. I have to bring my water bottle with me wherever I go. It's my emotional support water bottle.
He has emotional support guns.
Yeah, he needs them.
But Bryce begrudgingly acquiesces and changes her clothes to more rational walking attire than her little black dress and heels.
Fine.
In chapter 30, Hunt's watching Bryce walk through the comitium lobby in her new outfit. He seems to watch her walk a lot.
Yeah, he does. He seems to watch her from behind walk a lot. She'd changed into red suede flats and a button-up white blouse tucked into tight jeans, and tied her silken mass of hair into a high ponytail that swayed sassily with every step she took, matching Hunt stride for stride.
He thinks she still stands out in the crowd, even dressed down.
It might just be for you, but also, yeah, like someone dressed down. When, like, someone that you see sexily dressed all the time dresses down, I actually think there's nothing sexier.
Totally. No, I agree. Also, I think she is just like a stunning woman.
Yeah.
They have several awkward encounters going up via the elevator. Hunt usually flies in, and this time, because he's with Bryce, he's using the elevator, and a lot of people are gawking at both he and Bryce for different reasons.
Especially when he's so big in the elevator. Although I guess maybe they make elevators bigger because there's so many veneer.
I think so.
Yeah.
But like people don't want to get in the elevator with him.
Oh, no.
Bryce seems to be enjoying this attention a lot more than Hunt. Hunt thinks about how prior to making it to the comitium, he reflects on the memory of just going right before this. Bryce made them stop at a phone store. She needed to replace her phone to be, like updated from the explosion. She lost it. When they wait for her new phone to be whatever they do to phones when you get a new phone.
They make the phones be phones for you.
Yeah. They're waiting in the store, and she ended up taking Hunt's phone to watch news updates, which is right. Call her she's a little Snoopy Snooperson over here.
Oh my God, I would not give Bryce Quinlan my phone.
No.
Hell no, I don't want you looking through there.
I'm also of the mind I don't want to look through people's phones.
I have no desire. I don't want to look at anybody's email. I don't want to look at even if you're sitting next to me looking at your phone, I will actively, because I also hate when someone stares at my phone when I'm on it. It drives me crazy.
I hate it. I hate when people look over my shoulder when I'm typing, when I'm doing anything. I don't care for it. And I've never been the kind who wants to I think if you have to check, not that they're partners, but you shouldn't have to look in your partner's phone.
No, you should just trust them.
There's something weird either on your end or their end.
Or you've had a really bad experience, and I guess if that's the only way for y'all to get forward, I guess, if it works for you, it works for you.
I don't think it's healthy to do that. But anyway, so she's looking in his phone. She's looking for news updates and ends up in his phone and his photos.
Girl, get out of his photos.
I know. What if there's a bunch of dick pics in there or something?
Yeah, stuff for you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see it, but it's also not for me. I want to see it if it's for me.
Right, exactly. But no worry, there's really no photos at all.
Oh, is he not a big selfie taker?
There's actually 36 pictures on his phone, and they're all of different crime scenes he's had to investigate. Which,
yikes.
Without any context, yikes.
That's a lot.
See, normally that would be a pretty big red flag because it's just a bunch of bodies.
Yeah, but how would you feel if you looked and it was hundreds of selfies of him? What if he did take a bunch of selfies?
I mean, is that the only two options
That's
that I
it.
have?
Yeah.
Oh.
You should look at my phone. Bodies,
selfies. Oh, God. Jackie, please don't make me.
Don't look. If you don't want to know, don't look.
I guess at least, though, her looking into the pictures, it's not him taking hundreds of corpse photos at different angles and making folders that are labeled with the tongue emoji and stuff. He quickly clarifies that he doesn't take pictures of what he's required to do for Micah, only when he needs to procure evidence from a scene that's already happened.
Ugh.
She's gobsmacked. And she's definitely someone who has 500 drafted selfies alone in her phone, no doubt.
I see you, Bryce, and I hope you feel validated.
Yeah. She asks him if he's ever considered taking photos of his life, something he likes or admires.
What do you think he does on the weekends, Bryce? What do you think he does?
He
plays with Lego?
He's like, why would I do that? And this is the crux of why, to me, it's not an immediate Norman Bates situation.
He just doesn't think about it.
He spent so much of his life suffering.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know how to be a person.
Yeah.
It's like his smile would creak if he tried.
Oh, that's sad. Ooh, I don't like your creepy smile. Ew. You've got ghosts in that smile. I'm scared of you now.
He needs oil. But Bryce isn't happy with this situation.
And before he could stop her, she'd angled his phone in front of her, beamed from ear to ear, and snapped a photo of herself before she handed it back to him.
There, one non-corpse photo.
Hunt had rolled his eyes, but pocketed the phone.
Yeah, right. He is so stoked.
He loves that. That is so cute.
acts like he hates that there's a picture
Oh,
of
yeah,
her on his
don't do
phone.
that. I definitely hate that.
Anyway, that's his memory from earlier in the day. Currently, they are in an elevator in the comitium, and Bryce is inquiring about one of the soldiers they had passed in the lobby. Hunt seems a bit tense about the many men who were ogling her. Not like in a creepy way. He's trying to hide that he is irritated by it.
But I will say, and not to be like a little Hunt's advocate over here, he's also trying to watch her and take care of her. So it's probably annoying how many people stare at her and how much attention she attracts just because she's effortlessly hot. And I know that that's not how he's coming about it, but I imagine that he feels very protective.
Sure, but he is also thinking a lot about how they were looking at her butt.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be looking.
He tells her he doesn't know any of the names of the soldiers because there's so many of them, but maybe she shouldn't go after a guy who'd prefer to stare at her ass than greet her.
Whoa.
But she tells him, actually, that's exactly who she's looking for. She can't catch feelings. She's too hard to reach right now.
Oh my God. Yeah, but then that makes you irresistible, Bryce.
So true. As they walk towards his dorm, they make more conversation. Bryce asking if he has a girl or boyfriend. No, is all he says. But we're privy to the PTSD he's experiencing while giving this simple answer. He still sees Shahar and Sandriel gripped in battle.
Yikes.
Shahar's face as she's plunging from the sky, a sword through her gut.
Yeah, it's a little complicated for him and has been for a while.
That would be I'd probably need a few centuries to get over that.
Yeah, need some time.
Hunt reveals that though he knows he's fine as hell, females generally don't want to mess with a slave born into poverty, also born a bastard. Like Cassian.
You're not looking for the right gals.
Oh my God, he's just like Cassian.
Stop. I want to put them together in one big body.
That's too much.
Is it?
I think so.
I think I'm just enough.
Oh my God. He talks about his drop here as well, telling her that he made the drop at 28, immediately following his mother's death. In his grief, he just found the government official to anchor him and get it over with. He only had his full power, if you think about it, for 5 years of all of the hundreds of years he's been alive before Sandriel got a hold of him.
Not fair.
Yeah, so it's really only 5 years that he had use of his strength and lightning.
God.
Noting the lack of decor in his room, he's not Norman Bates. He tells
He's
her
just busy.
He tells her that since Micah owns him, he doesn't dare put roots down anywhere. I could see how being a slave would depress you.
Yeah, I guess it's rough being a slave.
We shift to Bryce's POV as they're zipping back down the elevator, Hunt having gotten his belongings, which are all guns, and she's decided that Hunt's not bad, she guesses. She likes that he makes Rune endlessly irritated, at least.
I'm sure, yeah, that's it. Definitely,
That's it.
Bryce.
As they begin to cross the lobby towards the exit, she immediately notices there's a big hubbub and to-do going on all around them. And then they see Isaiah rushing towards them. He says, panting, I just heard.
The ripple of power at the other end of the lobby made their legs buckle. As if that power had knocked the crowd to the ground, everyone knelt and bowed their heads, leaving the three of them with a perfect view of the archangel who stood at the giant glass doors of the atrium, Micah at her side.
Oh no!
No! Get out of here, you bitch!
That sucks so bad. Ever been in that, have you ever been in a situation where a badman from your past suddenly ends up in the same room as you?
And you're just like, why? In my brain, you do not exist anymore.
That sinking pit of dread that comes with it. Oh my God, it's the worst. Bryce can feel Hunt trembling next to her. Isaiah gets to his knees and he growls for Hunt to do the same. But Hunt seems frozen in rage or terror. Bryce can't tell. He doesn't drop down. Isaiah quietly pleads with Hunt, but he doesn't seem to hear. Bryce, thinking on her feet, does the first thing that comes to mind. Tries to use her party girl aesthetics to their benefit.
She's fast on her feet, that Bryce Quinlan.
She starts taking a bunch of photos and selfies with the angels in the background, appearing too daft to understand the gravity and the tension going on in the room and just needing to get these clout photos. She loudly thanks Hunt for bringing her to get the pics of the angels, like the airhead that she's pretending to be.
She's playing the part.
And begins to lead him towards the elevators. The two of them are the only people in the filled lobby still standing before these archangels. But, of course, though well-intentioned, this doesn't super work because the archangels aren't just going to let that slide.
No, and it's not like they don't know who Hunt is.
So, she was smart. She pulled him, she changed the tone.
Yes.
But Micah still stops them as they head towards the elevators, coldly asking what in the F they think they're doing. Isaiah and Hunt explain that Hunt and Bryce were just there to gather Hunt's belongings. The elevators open just then, and Bryce and Hunt make their attempt at an exit, but Micah grips Bryce's arm. She thinks about how gross she finds him based on all of his actions, as he asks her to dinner.
She pulled out of his grip, joining Hunt in the elevator. And as the doors closed, she looked the Archangel of Valbara full in the face.
Not interested,
she said. Bitch!
So in the past chapters, she's noticed him sort of eyeballing her in like a lustful way, but, he's kind of just like that, and I don't think she thought too much about it. But then this is the first time he's directly said, like, let me take you out. So he's clearly got eyes for her, and she just shuts him down.
I just can't imagine shutting him down like that, because I feel like I think I've gone on every single date I've ever been asked on.
Really?
While available. Yeah. I think it's just because, I guess if you asked, I'll go. And, I'd always just see. But again, I like to fuck for the story. So, yeah, I was always down to, what's an archangel like on a date? But I imagine he probably wouldn't really take you not being interested very well, especially after the date.
I think it would be very scary. And I'm proud of her for doing it, but I also think an archangel would find this deeply humiliating in the middle of a crowded lobby. So I'd be really scared.
Yeah.
But again, she's a bit nihilistic still at this point.
Yeah, dude.
Which
is a fun and scary way to be.
Sometimes. We cut to Hunt's POV in the following moments. He's indeed overwhelmed by the experience they just had, but he seems to have some level of grounding due to Bryce's display. Because though he's in a full reliving in his mind of Sandriel's fighting pits in his head.
Yeah.
Because he just experienced the person who tortured him for over a century.
And being in the same room as her.
But he's also shaken, of course, by how much Sandriel looks like his lover, Shahar.
Oh, it's gotta be so difficult to have your love and your absolute enemy look exactly the same.
Oh, can you imagine?
No!
But ultimately, at the same time, he's also marveling that Bryce just rejected Micah publicly and took a bunch of selfie photos with an unwitting Sandriel, something he imagines no one's ever done to her before. So it's kind of at least distracting him.
Yes.
They're planning their exit and how they're going to get out of this building. And he tells Bryce they can leave from the launch pad that they have for the angels. But of course, he'd have to carry her because they would have to fly off of a very high level of the building. Oh, man, no.
Oh, no, you better not.
Oh, no.
I want it so bad. She twirled the silken length of her ponytail around a wrist, unaware that she bared the golden column of her throat to him with the movement.
It's an interesting catch if you've read Throne of Glass. Just saying.
Bro. It is, and I didn't think about that. Bro!
It's interesting.
Interesting. We're not going to say anything about that.
That's it. He leads her to the ledge, and she's, of course, not super thrilled about it as it is a human on the side of a building. It immediately made me think of when our co-host Sina Ghaznavi made everyone do that virtual reality ledge walk on the LPN subathon last
Truly
year.
horrifying. Like, really, really scary. Now, I think it would be different, and maybe I almost cried while up on the ledge, but I think that if I was in the arms of a big, strong angel, I might feel a little bit differently, and maybe I wouldn't need my brother to actually hold my hands while I walked on the piece of wood that was an inch off the floor.
Yeah, you guys never touch.
We don't touch. It was
very
very scary. I needed him.
Yeah, because Jeff wasn't there.
Jeff wasn't there, so I was like, someone help me, someone. And I had to grab onto Henry while I did it.
You should have worn the VR glasses thing, goggles, VR goggles, had Jeff hold you in a cradle and then pretend like he was gonna fly you off the side.
I think that do I have to go buy VR goggles just so I can have this fantasy relived?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, you're right. All right, I guess I gotta do it, guys. I'll do anything for the sexual fantasy.
Oh, God.
No, I don't think I'd spend $500 for a sexual fantasy. I don't think. We'll come back to that later.
He assures her that he's never dropped anyone. Don't worry. Oh, I guess you have to pick me up and like hold me real close to your body or whatever. I guess like,
Oh no!
damn it.
it.
She grips, he scoops her up and she grips his neck as they launch off the side of the building.
He's so big.
And he thanks her for pulling him out of that situation. Bryce refuses to open her eyes during this flight, but Hunt looks down over the city and reflects on how, though the city has troubles, it's still a busy, flourishing city where people are largely comfortable. Pangera, Sandriel's turf, is filled with extremely wealthy people, and everyone else lives in basically in filth and hovels.
We hate you, Sandriel.
Her people suffer. They do not have a chance to thrive in any way. It is only survival there. And because of that, he understands why the humans have risen up, as they've been treated barely better than food for veneer. He lands them on Bryce's roof.
Well, it's got to be really difficult to have this conversation because you've ever had to try like to talk to someone when you're on a motorcycle. I feel like this actually, like them just like screaming at each other. Like I feel like this is not really as sexy as I want it to be.
Well, he mostly is not speaking at this point, but they do have that exchange of being like, he asks if she's going to open her eyes, and she said absolutely not, and he obviously thinks it's cute. So he lands them on Bryce's roof, and Hunt asks her if she really doesn't want to go on a date with the governor. She's like, why would I want to? He says, well, he's hot and powerful, and no women say no to him. And this causes her to snap a little bit. Basically like, oh yeah, just because I'm single, I'm just waiting to be picked, right? I'm just pick me. I can't possibly just want to be an independent woman and think about other things other than praying some hunk come saves me.
Darkest hell, this woman.
They both face off as they make their way to her apartment, and he drops his stuff.
Just love thinking of him just being like so over it. She's like, oh, and you're gonna think, oh, that I want to go on a date where it's just like, man, he
likes it.
Yeah, you know.
He does like it.
Of course he does.
Though they are bickering, they are both obviously enjoying themselves, and Hunt finds himself looking forward to her next barb. He asks if she's going to join him at the Oracle. Held to the nose, she says. Then we're in chapter 32, after they've dropped his stuff at her apartment and they have to go back to Griffin. Bryce needs to work, and they also need to keep researching in the library. Hunt finds himself unable to sit in that underground room today, and though he doesn't verbalize it, it's clear that Sandriel's brought out a lot of bad memories for him.
Dude, of course she did. Because this is the first time that he's seeing her, right?
I think in a long time, yeah. He's, being reminded of a dungeon is probably not something he wants to do today.
No. I'd probably want to, like, sit in a field or something.
Like, very open air.
Yeah.
So he does that. He waits on the roof for her to be done with work. And when she joins him, she tells him that she hasn't found anything new in their case. He feels wiped out and asks her if she minds if he watches the Sunball game that's on TV tonight. This stuns Bryce a little.
It's cute.
She tells him she can't picture him just chilling and being kind of a bro. He's amused and asks what she thinks he does in his free time.
I mean, he definitely sits around here like Natalie is, just open-shirted, nipples hanging out, just like, yeah, just give me a beer, bitch. Bitch, get me another beer.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I would have had my shirt on if you
No.
were around.
I love it. Arms too big, can't close the shirt. Can't close the shirt. Abs too big, arms too big. It's like not really. I feel like I sound like I'm such a like muscle man thirst bitch. I'm really not. But there's just something about, I think it's like these kind of like working man's muscles. You know what I mean? That I'm into.
Well, and he's also sensitive.
He's a sense, and he broods.
He's a brooder.
I love it when they brood.
The real life brooding is not sexy ever. It's always
it's
just
not.
in fantasy characters.
It's book sexy. This is
Yes.
all of the things I say about what I want specifically in a man is book sexy.
In real life, it's brooding on a partner is more like
That
"Meh."
won't talk to you.
No.
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, great. You're just going to stonewall me. And
Yeah.
we're just not going to talk about anything about how you feel. We're not going to work our way through it. We're not
No.
going to figure this out. You're just going to.
I need a
You're just-
cigarette.
You know what? Go. Go. Why don't you go get a pack of cigarettes and never come back?
Fine.
Yeah, you would. Just you and your cigarettes, just having a little party by yourself. God, I feel like I've had that exact conversation with
We
an
both
ex.
definitely have. We absolutely both have had that before.
Oh, good. We're just not gonna. Literally, like we would give each other the silent treatment for days, and that's just so not who I am anymore. It's insane how much you can grow and how much you can change. Give
And
me
how
time.
much you can just endlessly talk about your feelings.
Oh yeah, forever.
Forever and ever. Anyway, he asks what she thinks he does. She replies, I don't know. I assumed you cursed at the stars and brooded and plotted revenge on all your enemies.
I mean, is it very different from what he actually does in his spare time?
I thought it was a cute response.
It
though.
is.
I keep saying everything's cute, but it is cute.
I know. I'm not helping you. I'm also using the word cute way too much. But this is the portion of them starting to get to know each other that is the meet cute portion of it.
We are in the meet cute,
Yes.
or the aftermath of it, I guess. He can only enjoy this moment briefly, though. He is amused by this, but just then his phone rings and his stomach drops when he sees who it is. Micah. He has no idea how their display in the lobby earlier is going to affect Micah's temperament.
Yeah, I'd be scared of that phone call.
It turns out Micah's called because he has a job for him. He says a little too calmly that Hunt is to never behave like that again.
Oh.
Hunt agrees. He's not pleased being talked to like this, but he knows that the show of disrespect would have earned him a grueling and painful punishment from Sandriel.
Especially because Sandriel's on the scene now, and he actually has to be actively scared of her. And that hurts my chest.
I know. But he knows that if he had done that in her court, that he would be in a torture dungeon. So he's going to take the lashing.
Yes.
The
tongue lashing,
verbal
yeah.
lashing. Hunt also knows that this job, which of course is a kill, is a form of punishment for him as well. But Micah, he tells him the offer, it still stands. He hasn't lost out on the chance to have 10 more kills if
You're
he can
walking
solve
a
this.
thin line, Hunt, though, and it's not your fault, but you are walking a thin line.
Technically, Bryce did it.
Yes.
But also, he didn't kneel. I guess it's both of them
It
did.
is, yeah, yes. And she was trying to cover for it, so.
Yeah. Bryce can tell that something is wrong when Hunt gets off the phone, but he assures her that he just has to go take care of some government business. He calls Justinian and puts him on Bryce watch as he leaps into the sky to do the dirty deeds of Micah. We cut to Hunt in the middle of this horrific act. He's facing a male cougar shifter who is pleading for his life. We don't know why Micah has targeted him. We don't know what he's done. But Hunt does think about how, quote, unspeakable his acts were. tries to justify his forced, task at
Yeah.
hand. But, those justifications kind of ring hollow when a person is begging to be spared. Please, the shifter says over and over again.
Every utterance dragged Hunt further away, until the arm he outstretched was distant, until the gun he aimed at the male's head was just a bit of metal.
A little bit of the old dissociation going on.
Hunt was nothing but a shadow, a wisp of life, an instrument of death. He was nothing and no one at all.
Please.
Hunt's finger curled on the trigger.
So, jump to afterwards this happens, right? Hunt has chosen to take one of his cleansing showers of pain back at the barracks, not wanting to sully Bryce's apartment with the blood. He wanted to stay in it longer, but he knew that Justinian was waiting on him to return.
So he patched himself up, pieced himself together, half crawled out of the boiling hot shower and into the person he was when he wasn't forced to put a bullet between someone's eyes.
He gets back to Bryce's, praying that she is already asleep. He can't talk, make conversation right now. But Bryce opens her door just as he is about to escape to the spare room.
Even across the room, he could feel her questions. But she said softly,
I recorded the game for you if you still wanted to watch it.
Something tightened unbearably in his chest, but Hunt didn't look back.
He's obviously touched by this gesture, but he's too far gone from what's gone on that night to say anything other than night before he closes the door. And that's where we're going to leave off today.
You're
because
leaving us in such a
I
sad,
know.
Natalie.
I guess you'll have to come back to learn if he ever feels any better.
I hope he feels better. Maybe not by next week, but maybe by the week after. That's it, and maybe it's a quick fix. Have you thought about that?
Have you, Sarah J Maas?
Yeah, maybe he just gets over it.
Could he just get over it or
yeah,
whatever?
it's like, what battle, the twin, tortured for centuries.
Yeah,
it's
I
I had a hard day too.
I have PMS.
Yeah, and that's difficult for Natalie. And that's difficult for her to share while she's wearing a plastic foam chest.
Have
that's
you ever
very
tried
scary.
wearing one of those PMS period simulators?
Yeah,
Hunt?
it hurts. It hurts, and you should think about that.